You didn't mean to do it, correct? Is that true? Did you not mean to?
Why did you put me in this situation? Why do you do this to me? Why do you... Can I please go?
Can we finish talking, please?
If you promise I can go.
I can't promise you anything.
No.
Wild Oak Farms Apartments. Not exactly a name that screams tragedy, but that's where 21-year-old Cortez McShane took his last breath. And I need you to understand something before we go any further. Cortez wasn't just a victim in a case file. He was someone's son, someone's world. His mother, Samantha Allen, lost a piece of herself the day he died. And what makes this case particularly infuriating is watching the person responsible try to lie her way out of it. The interrogation footage in this one? It's something else. Every denial met with evidence. Every story crumbling in real time. If you're not subscribed yet, hit that button now, because this case deserves your full attention.
How would you characterize your relationship with him?
We have a good relationship. He's my best friend.
Y'all argue a lot, or
No, not for real. We argue a lot, but we don't fight. And then and then the arguments they're just little arguments,
I'm gonna kind of cut us off here just for a second, and I just want you to understand something, okay? Just so we're all on the same page, okay? When we start out and we start talking about the things at the very beginning, we're giving you an opportunity to be 110% honest with us, okay? Because this is going to be your opportunity to do that, okay? Regardless as to what happened or whatever it is, this is your opportunity to tell your side of the story, whatever it was.
I understand that.
Okay. Just so you're aware of it, and that spot where that is right there, there's a camera, okay, that shoots right at that intersection, and it's in the manager's office right there, and it shoots right for that intersection. Okay, so we're gonna be able to get the footage from that camera and see everything that's on that camera. Okay, so this is if there's something else that you need to talk about, and you need to tell us, now is the time to do it. Because after that, when I look at that footage, and if there's something on that footage that you're not telling me, then there's going to be a problem. So that's why I'm giving you the opportunity now to say what you need to say. Okay, you're 24 years old. Okay, you're an adult, and you know how things work. Okay, you've been around for a while, so. That's why we're here, is to give you the opportunity to tell you.
See, that's the moment right there. The detective isn't asking anymore. He's warning. And Collins? She's sitting there with this calm demeanor, like she hasn't figured out yet that the camera across from her apartment has been recording everything. What I find fascinating about this strategy is the clean slate approach. They're giving her every opportunity to course correct before the footage makes her a liar. And she doesn't take it. Jacoya Collins had a history of volatile relationships, and right now, she's betting everything on the detectives not having what they already have.
So, you're saying that there wasn't anything, no arguments or anything from y'all today, okay? Because I have a different story from people that live around you, okay? Because there are people that live on both sides of you, and they say that you all fight a lot. And you argue and yell at each other.
Yes, we do argue at each other.
And I also have information that you were yelling at each other today. And you just tell me, just a little bit ago, you told me that you didn't have any arguments today. So here's one spot.
No, we didn't have any arguments today.
Okay. Well, that's
now
fine.
We talk loud. I talk loud and yell.
Okay.
But we didn't have any arguments for today.
Okay, so there was no arguments.
No, maybe yelling that they heard, but there wasn't no physical argument or none of that.
Okay. So physical argument, by physical argument, you mean sometimes he puts his hands on you?
Or I either do the putting hands on.
Okay, so you guys have physical altercations like that sometimes?
No.
You don't?
No. We only had that like once. We don't have physical altercations like that.
You don't have anything like that at all?
And there it is, the verbal gymnastics. Watch how fast she recalibrates. We don't argue becomes we talk loud becomes, well, maybe once. That's not memory. It's damage control in real time. Here's what the neighbors knew that she hoped the detectives didn't. This wasn't a one-time thing. Witnesses on both sides of that apartment had heard enough to paint a very different picture of Cortez and Jacoya's relationship. And now she's sitting there trying to thread a needle that doesn't exist.
There's altercations like that.
You don't have anything like that at all?
Yelling really loud and cussing and doing all that.
Mm-hmm.
What is that over?
Yeah. Unnecessary stuff. Assuming and all that.
Think he's running around?
He thinks.
He thinks that you're running around?
Did he put his hands on you today?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing like that at all?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And whatever happened today as far as arguments or whatever, that was just...
We were just yelling at each other today. It wasn't nothing serious.
Okay. So you were yelling at each other just before he left to go to the Circle K?
No, not before to go to the Circle K.
You weren't yelling at each other just...
No, not just before all this happened, no.
No.
We were fine. I wasn't even at home. I had just got home.
Okay.
So, yeah, there was no arguing before all this.
Okay.
So you did not stab?
No.
Okay. We just want to get that out there to start.
Now she's throwing everything at the wall. Drugs, jealousy, him running around. Notice how none of it has anything to do with what happened that night. This is textbook deflection. When a suspect feels the walls closing in, they start introducing noise, hoping detectives lose the thread. But these detectives don't bite. They keep pulling her back to the timeline. Back to the stabbing. Back to the question she keeps dodging. And here's the thing about deflection as a strategy. It only works if investigators don't already have footage waiting in an evidence folder.
Aren't there? We don't know what happened.
We have to ask. We have to ask.
So obviously somebody stabbed him, and we're looking for that person. We're trying to find out if there was any kind of conflict between you and him where he thinks that you're cheating on him. He was getting violent with you. He was putting his hands on you, and you had to defend yourself. And that's what we're asking.
We always talk about our situations.
Okay.
Nothing like that.
Let me ask you this. Does he sell dope?
Do I what?
Does he sell dope?
No.
Does he work?
Yes.
Where does he work?
Warranting utilities.
Okay. What does he do for them? What does he do for them?
You got a Facebook page? Okay. Were you on your Facebook tonight?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm always scrolling on it.
What did you make any posts tonight?
Earlier.
Okay, when earlier, huh?
Earlier when I was at my mom's house.
Okay, so you didn't make any posts later in the evening?
No.
Okay. So you didn't make a post at like 11:19?
Not that I remember.
Not that you remember? Okay. Okay, because there were some things that were posted and then they were deleted afterwards. Okay. And that would be something that you would have to do.
And we have those posts.
I have those posts. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, did you make any posts around 11 o'clock tonight?
Okay, I did.
Okay. And what posts were those then?
Never let a man put his hands on you. No, never let a boy put his hands on you.
Okay. And the reason that you deleted those posts, why did you delete them?
Because I didn't want anybody to think that he put his hands on me.
Why would you make that post to start with?
Because a lot of people go through a lot of stuff, domestic violence, and
which is totally understandable. Okay, and here's the thing. Okay, look, here's the thing. If there was a problem, like we were talking at the very beginning of this, where we stopped in the middle of it, if there was a problem, now is the time to talk about it. Okay, if there was some kind of an issue, and you guys, had a problem, and he put his hands on you, and you were defending yourself. Now is the time to say that, okay? Not later. That's why we're giving you the opportunity, because you've already been kind of deceptive with me a little bit, right? Because I asked you about those posts and you said you didn't. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's your opportunity. Okay. If something happened and he put his hands on you and you had to defend yourself and he got hurt, that is an understandable thing. That is an understandable thing. What will not be understandable is when somebody comes back later on, if it's proven that something happened, and it's shown during this interview that you did not want to tell the truth, that you tried to hide what happened. That's not going to go well for you. That's why we're giving you the opportunity to do what you got to do.
Facebook. The digital crime scene she forgot to clean up. She posts, "Never let a boy put his hands on you" at 11:19 p.m., minutes after Cortez is stabbed, then deletes it. And when detectives ask about posts from that night, she says, "Not that I remember." You deleted evidence of your own mindset and then pretended you forgot. Here's what makes social media devastating in modern investigations. Deletion isn't destruction. Servers remember. Screenshots exist. And detectives pulled those receipts before she even sat down.
The other thing too, Hun, is that no time during the time that we've been sitting here talking have you ever said to me, nor did you say to anybody so far, that, hey, look, who did this? You haven't asked me that.
There's nobody that I would know who did it. And apparently,
Well, the problem is you're saying that he's not out there in the streets. There would be no... Is there any other female that he's messing with?
No.
Okay.
Definitely no. No.
Does he owe anybody any money?
Now that I don't know. I don't know about his money situations or whatever.
I mean, you've been together for 2 years. You gotta know something about it.
Not really.
The thing that's kind of puzzling as well is that there was money. There was money there, and there were other items that were found there that would also not lead me to believe that anybody had tried to rob him.
They didn't take the car.
Nope.
They didn't take the keys.
Nope.
He's got a pocket full of money.
Yep.
His weed is still on him. Okay. Didn't take his weed.
Which would lead me to believe that what this was somebody had gotten in some sort of an altercation with him. They were upset.
Domestic.
And they had to either defend themselves. Okay? They either had to defend themselves or something along those lines.
Listen to what the detective just did there. He's not asking about the murder anymore. He's walking her through what the murder wasn't. Nothing was stolen. Money still in his pocket. Weed untouched. Car sitting right there with the keys. And then he says the word she's been dreading. Domestic. That's not a question. That's a conclusion. He's telling her he knows this wasn't a robbery gone wrong or some random street violence. The CCTV already showed her at the scene when she claimed she was inside. Now he's building the motive in front of her face, and she just keeps nodding along like agreement will somehow save her.
Morning push, funeral together, home together all afternoon, 2 hours alone at night. He asks her for a ride to the store. None of that is the timeline of self-defense.
Okay. So he came back from the funeral. What time did he come back from the funeral?
Maybe 1.
1 o'clock in the afternoon? Okay, so he was home from 1 until he left to go to Circle K?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he was home at 1 o'clock, and then you left at 5:30 to go to your mom's.
Mm-hmm.
You stayed at your mom's till about 8:30, and then you came back, right? And then you were at the house for about another 2 hours or so until he came in and he just said, "Hey, I'm going to go get something to drink."
Well, he was already in.
He was
He was already in the house.
He was in the house.
Yeah. When he told me that, we were already in the house.
Okay, and he said he was just going to go get something to drink.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he went and got something to drink at probably around 10 o'clock or so, I guess, right? And he didn't stay gone that long.
No, he didn't stay gone long.
And you were talking to him on the phone?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Why did you make... And you were talking to him on the phone?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Why did you make that post right at 11 o'clock?
I don't know. I just made it.
I mean, here's the thing, because I'll tell you why, like I said, it was confusing to me, and it still is, because, you put yourself in a situation where, I'm asking you questions about stuff, pretty simple questions, and you kind of just outright lie about it, because you are afraid that it's going to look like you did this. Why would you think that it would look like you did this? Just defying.
Because there's nobody else. I'm the only person.
Well, the reason I'm asking that is because you deleting those Facebook posts, it kind of shows me that you're really worried that I'm going to find out something. That's the thing that concerns me. I got kids your age, and I know that I've been around long enough to know that things happen for whatever reasons. And I know that sometimes we get to a point with other people, especially if you're in a relationship. I've been in a bunch of them too. I'm an old guy. So I know when you get in a relationship with somebody over a period of time, it gets to the point where, things get rough one way or another.
Well, we normally get through our rough patches.
Right. Oh, okay.
Home at 1. Left at 5:30. Back at 8:30. 2 more hours together before he asks for a ride to Circle K. The detective just did the math for her, and it doesn't add up to self-defense. It adds up to opportunity. Hours of calm domestic time followed by a single trip that ends in a stabbing. And when he asks about that 11 o'clock Facebook post, she suddenly doesn't know why she made it. That's the tell. She remembers every timestamp of her day, until the moment that timestamp becomes a confession.
Right. Oh, okay. I just want to clarify some things, okay? So, all right. Tell me again, real quick, you said you were outside smoking a cigarette, correct? Okay. And then when you were outside smoking a cigarette, you heard him. What did you hear him say?
He yelled my name.
Okay. And then what'd you do?
Then I walked down there.
You walked down there?
Well, I ran down there.
Okay. So you went running down there towards where the car was, right? Okay. Can you look at me just for a minute, hon? That's not true. Okay. That's not true. I just looked at the videotape. Okay. No, you were at the car. So now we're in a different situation, you and I. Okay. You're in a situation where you're at the scene of a murder. Now you can do one of two things. You can come clean and you can tell me what the deal is, and we can talk about why this happened. Okay. Or I can just go based on what I've got at my own assumptions and what's on the videotape. Because you never went running down the street, hon. You were there. So why don't you tell me what happened? So we can get this ironed out, so I can understand why it is that this happened to this young man, and why if it had to do with you were scared of him or whatever it was. That now is the time to say.
That right there is the sound of a story collapsing. You never went running down the street, honey. You were there. The CCTV didn't blink, didn't forget, didn't get confused about timestamps. It just recorded. And what it recorded was Jacoya Collins at that car, not running toward it from somewhere else like she claimed. This is why surveillance footage terrifies liars. You can rehearse your story 100 times, but you can't rehearse away a camera that was watching the whole time. The jury saw this same footage. They didn't need her confession after that.
Whatever it was, that now is the time to say. I mean, I get it, okay? I totally get it. I understand it. You're a little girl. He's a big old guy, okay? I get it. But help me understand it. I know. Can you tell me what it was that caused this? Was it because of he was thinking that you were cheating? Is that what it was? And he tried to hurt you? Did he try and hurt you? Did he try and hurt you? I mean, tell me. If he tried to hurt you, tell me. Let me let me try and figure this out for you. Is that what it was? Did he get mad because he thought you were cheating on him and that was what it was?
Mom here.
Yeah, your mom's there.
Yep.
Can I see her?
The detective just handed her a lifeline. Did he try to hurt you? That's the self-defense door being opened wide. And here's what's interesting about Jacoya Collins. She had already tried multiple narratives by this point. Robbery gone wrong, random violence, domestic dispute she wasn't part of. But self-defense? That requires admitting you were there. That requires admitting you held the knife. The CCTV already proved she was lying about her location. So now she's got a choice. Take the self-defense angle and confess to being the one who stabbed Cortez, or keep denying and hope the video somehow disappears. She hesitated. That hesitation told detectives everything.
Okay. So he came back from the funeral. What time did he come back from the funeral?
Maybe 1.
1 o'clock in the afternoon? Okay, so he was home from 1 until he left to go to Circle K?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he was home at 1 o'clock, and then you left at 5:30 to go to your mom's.
Mm-hmm.
You stayed at your mom's till about 8:30, and then you came back, right? And then you were at the house for about another 2 hours or so until he came in and he just said, "Hey, I'm going to go get something to drink."
Well, he was already in.
He was
He was already in the house.
He was in the house.
Yeah. When he told me that, we were already in the house.
Okay, and he said he was just going to go get something to drink.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he went and got something to drink at probably around 10 o'clock or so, I guess, right? And he didn't stay gone that long.
No, he didn't stay gone long.
And you were talking to him on the phone?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Why did you make... And you were talking to him on the phone?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Why did you make that post right at 11 o'clock?
I don't know. I just made it.
I mean, here's the thing, because I'll tell you why, like I said, it was confusing to me and still is, because, you put yourself in a situation where, I'm asking you questions about stuff, pretty simple questions, and you kind of just outright lie about it, because you are afraid that it's gonna look like you did this. Why would you think that it would look like you did this just if I...
Because there's nobody else. I'm the only person.
Well, the reason I'm asking that is because you deleting those Facebook posts, it kind of shows me that you're really worried that I'm going to find out something. That's the thing that concerns me. I got kids your age, And I know that I've been around long enough to know that things happen for whatever reasons. And I know that sometimes we get to a point with other people, especially if you're in a relationship. I've been in a bunch of them too. I'm an old guy. So I know when you get in a relationship with somebody over a period of time, it gets to the point where, things get rough one way or another.
But we normally get through our rough patches.
Right.
Then Collins says there was nobody else. Detectives did not narrow the suspect list for her. She did.
Oh.
She just narrowed the suspect list herself. The detectives didn't do that. Jacoya Collins looked at a room full of possibilities and said, "There's nobody else." That statement would follow her straight into the courtroom. When the trial came, the jury didn't need to untangle some elaborate conspiracy theory. They had her own words boxing her in, and surveillance footage confirming every lie. Her appeal attempt failed for the same reason her interrogation failed. The evidence never changed, and neither did her contradictions. Consistent facts beat shifting stories every single time.
Oh, okay. I just want to clarify some things, okay? So, all right. Tell me again, real quick, you said you were outside smoking a cigarette, correct? Okay. And then when you were outside smoking a cigarette, you heard him, what did you hear him say?
He yelled my name.
Okay, and then what'd you do?
Then I walked over there.
You walked down there?
Well, I ran down there.
Okay, so you went running down there towards where the car was, right? Okay. Can you look at me just for a minute, hon? That's not true. Okay? That's not true. I just looked at the videotape. Okay? No, you were at the car. So now we're in a different situation, you and I. Okay? You're in a situation where you're at the scene of a murder. Now you can do one of two things. You can come clean and you can tell me what the deal is, and we can talk about why this happened. Okay? Or I can just go based on what I've got at my own assumptions and what's on the videotape. Because you never went running down the street, hon. You were there. So why don't you tell me what happened? So we can get this ironed out, so I can understand why it is that this happened to this young man. And why, if it had to do with you were scared of him or whatever it was.
You can hear the detective's patience running thin. That's not true. Delivered flat and final. No emotion, just certainty. What he's really telling her is the game's over. Now here's what makes this moment land for me. Cortez McShane was 21 years old. He had his whole life ahead of him. His mother, Samantha Allen, has spent every day since fighting for his memory and advocating for other victims' families. That's the real story here. Not her lies, but what they cost a mother who lost her son.
Now is the time to say. I mean, I get it, okay? I totally get it. I understand it. You're a little girl. He's a big old guy, okay? I get it. But help me understand it. I know. Can you tell me what it was that caused this? Was it because of he was thinking that you were cheating? Is that what it was? And he tried to hurt you? Did he try and hurt you? Did he try and hurt you? I mean, tell me. If he tried to hurt you, tell me. Let me try and figure this out for you. Is that what it was? Did he get mad because he thought you were cheating on him, and that was what it was?
Mom here.
Yeah, your mom's there.
Yep.
Can I see her?
And just like that, she takes the bait. Yeah. One word, and the self-defense narrative she never wanted to admit is now on record. But here's what the detective knew walking in. Jacoya Collins had a documented history of volatile relationships long before Cortez. This wasn't a scared woman backed into a corner by a big guy. This was a pattern. And Cortez McShane deserved better than becoming the final chapter of someone else's cycle of violence. His community still honors him. His mother still fights for him. That's the legacy that matters.
Playing games with us.
Well, then help us understand what the deal was.
We got it on video. It is on video.
I mean,
You getting out of the car and running back to your house, not the other way around. You running down there.
I ran back to my house to check on my kids.
right
After the fact. But the video shows y'all pulling up in the car, you getting out of the car and running back to the house. Congratulations.
Congratulations. That dry little send-off from the detective says everything. Because here's what the surveillance caught that Jacoya couldn't rehearse around. She wasn't running toward the scene like a concerned partner. She was fleeing from the car back to her apartment. The footage showed her getting out and sprinting home to check on the kids only after the fact, after Cortez was already bleeding out. That's not panic. That's not confusion. That's a woman who knew exactly what she'd done and was already calculating her next move.
I get it. I understand. Can you help me understand? The only thing that I can tell you, hon, is that I got to hear it from you.
Can I go?
I can't do anything about that right now. Okay? If I could let you walk out of here right now, I would. But what I got to do is I got to know what the story is before anything else happens. Tell me what happened. Tell me what happened. I get it. I got kids your age. I got a daughter your age. And you don't think if I had a daughter your age and I had somebody that was maybe abusing her, you don't think I'd be upset about that? Of course I would. Of course I would. And you don't think if somebody was grabbing on me or hurting me or trying to hurt me or my kids, you don't think I would try and do something to stop that? I would. I absolutely would. And I get it. Honey, I get it. Things happen sometimes. Things happen. Help me understand. Okay. I understand.
Go to sleep.
Well, can you tell me what it was that caused it? At least get me that far and just tell me what it was that caused it.
Please.
Can you help me, please? Can you help me? You know, the other part of this too is that this is the opportunity that you're going to have to tell your side of the story. Okay, it's not going to be one of those things where you're going to have that opportunity again. You know, everybody's going to look at you like there's something wrong, that you did this and it was a wrong thing. Well, I need to know why it was. I need to know why it was. I need to know what the reason was. I need to know why it was. I need to know what the reason was. Did you just get mad? Was he trying to hurt you? What was he doing? Was he grabbing on you? Was he pushing you? Did he try and choke you?
I want to go.
I understand.
Go.
I understand. Now you shook your head when you said he was trying to hurt you. Was he trying to choke you? Did he try and hit you? You said you weren't angry, right?
I wasn't angry.
You weren't angry? Okay, did he try and hurt you? Is that what he did? Did he try and was it choke, or did he try and slap you? I understand that.
You don't.
Can you tell me what it was that happened? Just give me just the basics of what happened. Did he try and grab you? Did he accuse you of something? I saw there was another car that pulled up. Okay. Were you in that other car? Okay, so you were in your car. And then what happened? Did he get mad because he thought you were cheating on him? Did he start yelling at you? I mean, is that what it was? Did he start screaming at you? And it scared you? I understand being scared. I understand being scared. If you were scared, say you were scared.
I don't want to remember none of that.
I know.
Classic soft interrogation technique right here. The detective's playing dad. I got a daughter your age. I'd be upset too. He's building a bridge so she'll walk across it and confess. But watch Jacoya. She's not crossing. She's crying and nodding, but offering nothing. No details, no timeline, no explanation. Just silence wrapped in tears. This is a woman who's been through volatile relationships before. She knows how to perform distress without actually surrendering information. The detective keeps handing her off-ramps. Was he choking you? Grabbing you? And she takes none of them. Because taking one means admitting she was there. Admitting she had the knife.
I don't want to remember none of that.
I know, I understand. In order for me to get from this place to where it is that I understand things, you have to be able to explain it to me so I can understand. You didn't mean to do it, correct? Is that true? Did you not mean to?
Why did you put me in this situation? Why do you do this to me? Why do you punish me so bad? I'm a good person.
You are.
I'm a good person.
Bad things happen to good people all the time, hon. You didn't mean to do it.
Of course.
It was an accident. It was an accident.
I don't want to go to jail.
I understand. Will you tell me?
Please don't let me go to jail.
Will you tell me? Will you explain it to me so I understand? You said you didn't mean to do it, right? And you weren't angry?
You basically already said everything.
What? Well, that he tried to choke you, or what?
He tried to do everything.
Okay, what's everything, honey? What's everything? Was he trying to hurt you?
Please don't let me go to jail. That's the crack. Right there. She's not asking him to believe her anymore. She's begging him to save her. And watch how she pivots. Suddenly it's, he tried to choke me, and was he trying to hurt you? She's testing which version might stick. This is someone who's run this playbook before in other relationships. The detectives know it too. They're not buying the victim act, because the CCTV already told them who was actually in danger that night. And it wasn't Jacoya Collins.
Shaking your head, yes. What was he doing to try and hurt you? Did he try and punch you?
He did. Yes.
He hit you?
I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go.
Okay, I understand.
Can I please go?
Can we finish talking, please?
If you promise I can go.
I can't promise you anything.
Oh, please don't do this
You want to be able to say this. You want to be able to have explained this, okay? You want to have been able to tell your side of the story. Because otherwise, listen to me. Look at me just for a second. Look. All they'll do is they look at it from a standpoint of you having done something, and you need to be able to tell why it was that this was done. You said it wasn't on purpose. Right? Okay, so it was an accident?
A big mistake.
Okay.
A big mistake. It was a big mistake. I promise it was.
Okay.
Mistake.
Okay.
A big mistake. It was a big mistake. I promise it was.
Okay. Did he try and hurt you? Okay. And what happened when he tried to hurt you? You defended yourself. Yes?
He was trying to take the knife.
He was? And so what happened when he tried to?
We were struggling.
You were struggling. And then what?
And
then what?
it went into his chest when we were struggling.
When you were struggling over the knife? Okay. That makes total sense. It's okay.
It's not okay.
No.
It's not okay.
But you are okay.
No, it's not okay. It's not okay.
What happened to the knife?
A big mistake, I promise it was.
She's rehearsing the soundbite she hopes saves her in court. But here's the thing. Self-defense doesn't require an apology tour. It requires consistency. And Jacoya has now offered 3 different versions of this knife fight in under 10 minutes. First, she wasn't there. Then she was running toward the car. Now, suddenly they're struggling over the blade like it's a movie scene. The detectives don't even need to push anymore. She's contradicting herself faster than they can write it down.
A big mistake. It was a big mistake. I promise it was.
Okay. Did he try and hurt you? Okay. And what happened when he tried to hurt you? You defended yourself. Yes?
He was trying to take the knife.
He was? And so what happened when he tried to?
We were struggling.
You were struggling. And then what?
And then what? It went into his chest when we were struggling.
When you were struggling over the knife? Okay. That makes total sense. It's okay.
It's not okay.
No.
It's not okay.
But you are okay.
No, it's not okay. It's not okay.
What happened to the knife? Do you know you just told me that what you did was defend yourself?
I'm still gonna go down for that. I'm still gonna go to jail for that. You don't understand that. I cannot go to jail. I'm not the type of person.
What you told me was that you defended yourself.
I'm not the type of. I
get that. I understand.
I won't make it.
But what you told me is that you defended yourself. You said you were struggling, right? And you said that he got stabbed while you were struggling. Isn't that what you told me?
Yes.
Okay. Why was he trying to hurt you? Was it because of what you told me? Was it because
I was breaking up with him.
Why were you breaking up with him?
Because
he hit you? Okay. A lot? At the house?
Stop it.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not the type of person. That phrase right there tells you everything. She's not worried about Cortez bleeding out in a parking lot. She's worried about her comfort level in a jail cell. And notice how the detective handles this. He doesn't argue. He just repeats her own words back to her. You said you were struggling. You said he got stabbed while you were struggling. He's building the confession out of her own sentences, like a brick wall she can't climb over. The CCTV already proved she was at that car. Now her mouth is filling in the rest.
On the videotape, I saw you running back for the house because you wanted to check on your kids, right? What happened to the knife? Is it at the house? Is it at the house, honey? Which knife is it? Is it the one with the broken handle? Which knife was it? A smaller one? Okay. Did you clean it off? Did you clean it off, honey? Okay, so it's in the sink? Okay, it's the smaller one that's in the sink. You guys went to the store together? Is that where you went?
No.
What happened?
We were about to go to the store. No.
Now we get to the knife. And watch how quickly she surrenders the details once she realizes they already know the answer. The smaller one? In the sink? Did you clean it off? She's nodding along like she's helping them find a misplaced set of keys. But here's what the jury understood that she didn't. Every domestic violence expert who testified made the same point. Real self-defense doesn't end with calmly washing the blade and placing it back in the kitchen. That's cleanup. That's evidence management. That's intent.
What happened?
We were about to go to the store. No. Yes, we were about to go.
And then what happened? You guys just drove down there and turned around because he got mad?
He got mad and he hit me while I was driving.
Okay, and then what? When you guys were struggling with the knife, were you inside the car or outside the car?
We were outside.
Okay.
God, I'm so sorry. God, I'm so sorry. So sorry. I'm so sorry. God, please forgive me. 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 Quiet. What's going on, baby? Did you jump on me? Please forgive me. Please forgive me. I want to go home.
And there it is. The kneeling. The please forgive me. But here's what the camera doesn't tell you. Jacoya Collins had been through interrogations before. Her history of volatile relationships meant she knew what emotional collapse looks like from the outside. She'd practiced this. The detectives knew it too. That's why they stepped out. They weren't giving her space to grieve. They were giving her space to perform. And when that comfort woman walked in, that wasn't kindness. That was strategy. They wanted to see if she'd say something real when she thought the pressure was off.
Spit it on out.
You know that picture that I showed you? You said that wasn't it, right? Okay. Where did you get it out of the kitchen? Is that where you got it from when you took it with you? What was it in the car? Did you put it in the car with you, or how was it? You put it in the car with you? Okay. Why did you take it and put it in the car with you?
Because he had one.
He had one? Okay. So you took it downstairs with you and you got in the car with it when you went to drive? Okay. All right. Sit tight just for 1 second.
She finally said it. Because he had one. 4 words. That's what we get after hours of denial and misdirection and tears. 4 words that confirm she brought the knife to the car. 4 words that shatter every self-defense claim she ever floated. Because here's the thing about self-defense. You don't pre-position your weapon. You don't walk it downstairs and load it into the vehicle like you're packing for a road trip. That's not reaction. That's preparation. And look at her now. Vomiting. Shaking. The comfort woman rubbing her back like she's consoling someone who just lost a loved one, instead of someone who took one. But that physical breakdown isn't remorse. It's the body catching up to what the mind already knew. This is over. The story she spent hours constructing just collapsed into 4 syllables and a confession about kitchen cutlery. Cortez McShane was 21 years old. He had his whole life stretching out in front of him. He had a mother who loved him and a community that knew his name for reasons that had nothing to do with a police report. Samantha Allen didn't raise her son to become a case number. She raised him to be somebody. And now, she spends her days making sure the world remembers who he actually was, before Jacoya Collins decided his life was worth less than her pride. The jury saw through every version of events Collins tried to sell. The surveillance footage, the Facebook posts she thought she'd erased, her own words coming back to bury her one contradiction at a time. Her appeal failed because appeals require new evidence or procedural error, and all she had was the same broken story told by the same unreliable narrator. The system worked exactly the way it was supposed to work. Cold comfort when you're Samantha Allen lighting a candle on your son's birthday, knowing he'll never blow it out. What stays with me about this case isn't the interrogation tactics or the CCTV footage or even the moment she finally cracked. It's the gap between who Cortez was and how little that mattered to the person who killed him. He wasn't a threat. He was convenient. He was there. And in the arithmetic of Jacoya Collins's life, he was expendable. The community around Wild Oak Farms didn't let that stand. They showed up for Samantha. They showed up for Cortez's memory. They turned grief into advocacy, because that's what you do when the justice system gives you a verdict, but can't give you back what you actually lost. If you're watching this and you recognize the patterns, the volatility, the escalation, the way someone rewrites history to make themselves the victim, pay attention. Cortez didn't get a warning. Most people don't. His legacy isn't the crime scene photos or the interrogation footage. It's his mother still fighting, still speaking, still refusing to let her son become just another statistic in a system that processes tragedy like paperwork. Justice was served. Jacoya Collins is where she belongs. But Cortez McShane is still gone, and that's the part no verdict fixes. If you want to see what happens when a mother makes a different kind of choice, one that defies every instinct we assume parents have, stick around. Because the next case involves an 11-week-old baby and a well, and a woman who thought she could walk away from what she'd done. She was wrong.